Hey everybody, welcome to Simple Hobby Homesteading and Jenna Conway, both channels. Now the You Betcha Jenna changed to Jenna Conway because YouTube took the You Betcha Jenna channel down. I don't know why, I'm still trying to figure it out, but there was, I guess, a community guideline that I screwed up and I don't know which one or how or anything, but anyways, so Jenna Conway is the other channel that I'm posting on, and the Simple Hobby Homesteading is still associated all with homesteading, and I'm driving. The reason why I'm recording when I'm driving is because I have to go to the bathroom really bad. Just got done grocery shopping, and I usually stop at the top of my lane and record a little video. I know I'm not going to be able to stop at the top of my lane because I'm going to have to go to the bathroom so bad, and I know once I get home I'm going to have to hit the ground running for doing stuff. And so I just won't have time to record this, and I want to record it when it's fresh on my mind. So the reason why it's getting put on both channels is because it does apply to homesteading. You won't kind of think so, but it does. And I'm going to tell you why. I walk dogs on the side as like a side gig kind of thing to bring in income for our hobby farm. So what I try to do is I try to keep our hobby farm, all the expenses, veterinary, feed, enclosure, maintenance, fencing, all that stuff. I try to generate the revenue for that through stuff from the homestead, from the farm. Soap making, lotion making, dog training, so that we're not using the money that Kevin earns at his job to pay for a ton of my hobby farm stuff. So one thing I do is I walk dogs for clients, and I was going today to walk dogs for a client, and so that's why this can be with homesteading, my homesteading channel, because that's the way I make revenue for the homestead, but also this is just, my life is kind of crazy, so that's why it belongs on the Jenna Conway page, because my life is kind of crazy. But if you haven't subscribed to that channel yet, please jump over to Jenna Conway, and it's Jenna Conway. Jump over there and subscribe, because that's why I post a lot of the goofy videos, like if I'm trying all the different kinds of Twinkies, or if I'm trying German snacks, or that's why I put those videos, or where I've started putting those videos, so that they're not on the homesteading channel. I want to keep that homesteading channel mostly for homesteading stuff. So okay, so I was going to walk the dogs of a client today. Lives in an apartment complex with a bunch of different apartments, and he said he was just going to leave the key in a cooler outside the door, and no problem. I said okay, I can get the key, whatever. And so I get there, and we had talked about, I said, well, I can stop by where you work and pick up the key if that's easier, because I always feel bad him leaving it, because I don't want anyone to break into his place. But he's like, you know, no. And then I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going the back way, so I don't know if I'll pass your work, so yeah, just leave it in the cooler. So I get there, and I go to his apartment, and like he had just moved apartments, and so he gave me the apartment number. I go to the apartment, and there's no cooler out in front of the door, and so I'm just like, well, that's weird. And so I looked around some of the other apartments, and there's no cooler anywhere, because I was like, maybe I got the wrong apartment number, but there's no coolers anywhere. There was in front of one apartment like a milk can, like an old-fashioned milk can cooler kind of thing. I thought, well, maybe that's what he calls a cooler, and it was the only thing outside the apartments right in that area where I knew his apartment was. And so I went over and I looked, and sure enough, in that milk can at the bottom was a key, was the key to the door. So I'm like, okay, I must have gotten the apartment number wrong. No big deal. There's the key. We're good to go. So I put the key up, and I do the key, and I try the door, and it doesn't open. Like, it's still locked. And I was like, okay, that's weird. I said, well, maybe he forgot to lock it this morning, so maybe when I did that, I just locked it. So I put it in and twisted it the other way, and sure enough, it unlocked. And so I'm like, oh, you know, you silly goose, you forgot to lock the door when you left for work this morning. So I go to push open the door, and as I'm opening the door, I'm like, Mac, Molly, which is the name of the dogs, and as I'm going to push the door open, like, there's a resistance, like, it's hard to push the door open. So I push harder, and the door opens, and here's this other guy on the other side of the door, a younger guy, late teens, early 20s at the most, and he's on the other side of the door just like, what the heck? And I'm like, what the heck? And so I'm like, is Mac and Molly here? And he's like, who? And I said, is this, and I said the person's name, is this his place? And he's like, who are you talking about? It's like, do you know this person? I said, he just moved in. He's got these two dogs. And he's like, I have no idea who you're talking about. He's like, I live here. And I said, but the key was in the milk can. He's like, yeah. And I was just like, that's probably not the best place to keep your key. And so I'm just like, okay, well, I'm sorry to bother you. Let me call this guy and see what's going on. So I text the owner, And as I'm texting him and chatting back and forth with him, I'm like, oh, this kid probably thinks I'm a robber and I'm just going house to house and I'm going to come back and burglarize him now that I know the key is in there. And I'm thinking all these things, like, this poor kid, now he's not going to be able to sleep at night, and how awkward. And I'm also thinking, I'm lucky I didn't get shot in the face. That's why you always know your target before you pull the trigger. But yeah, so I was just like, he probably thinks I'm crazy. So I'm standing right out in front of the apartment so that he can see me talking to the owner on the phone, and he can see that I'm not a crazy person just scoping out different apartments. And so the owner ended up saying, yeah, he got it mixed up. Either he forgot to put the key out or he thought I was stopping by the store, whatever. And so he called the apartment office, and they got me a key, and I was able to walk the dogs. But as I went in to get the dogs, and I was able to get in his apartment, I went and got a key and was able to get in his apartment. But when I'm walking when I get the dogs out, I'm like, I really need to go tell this kid, show the kid these dogs, and that I was honest and truthful about walking dogs. I'm not a crazy burglar. So I go and I knock on his door, and it takes forever for the kid to come back to the door. Finally, he does. And I'm like, okay, just want to let you know, here's the dogs. We got it all figured out. I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm not a crazy burglar. And like, crazy burglars, do they say they're not crazy burglars? I'm not sure. But I was just like, here's the dogs. This is Mac. This is Molly. And I'm a dog walker. And I'm going to go walk the dogs now. And I will never bother you again. And maybe you need to change the place where you put your key. But, I was like, the mother in me kind of came out, and maybe you need to look through the peephole and have a chain on the door when you first open it or whatever. And he was so sweet. He said to me, he's like, oh, I believed you. I believe that you were a dog walker. He's like, you didn't have to come back. It's okay. And I was just like, oh, you're the most trusting soul ever. There's hope for our generation. Although he should have been a little dubious still. But yeah, so that was so crazy. So crazy. And then I went to Walmart to get groceries. And it's my anniversary today, my and Kevin's 22-year anniversary today. Happy anniversary, Kevin. I don't think he watches my videos. But 22 years, and so I wanted to get a card and some sweet things for him. And of course, you go to Walmart for the sweet things. And so I got his favorite popcorn, and I'm going to make him apple crisp tonight. And I got him a nice card, a wishy card, and everything like that. And I also got myself some Kinder Buenos, right? And so I put the Kinder Buenos at the back of the little conveyor belt with the cards, so that they were the last thing that got packed, so that they wouldn't get squished. And so the checker, and I always kind of love when the checkers evaluate my stuff and ask me about it. I just love that conversation because sometimes there's some intriguing mix of things that I have on that conveyor belt. But she gets the card and she's like, oh, anniversary card, whose anniversary? And I said, well, it's mine, 22 years. And she's like, oh, that's so sweet. And she said, are these for him, the Kinder Buenos? And I was like, no, those are mine. Those are mine. And I proceeded to stuff them in my purse. And so, yes. And yeah, I got another purse chapstick too, by the way. Yay me. But so it was just the funniest day. I just could not believe that. And so I texted my son, and I was like, yeah, your mom's a burglar. No, he texted me first, saying that, well, I don't want to give too much information about the client. But anyways, he was making fun of his mom for being a burglar. And I said, well, I'm not a burglar, but I almost was, because I didn't really break and enter. I just tried to enter with a key. So, but it wasn't my place, and I didn't have permission. But I thought I had permission. So I don't know, is there such a thing as unintentional burglarization? If there is, that's what I did. But I wasn't. And then when I took the key back though to the office, there was a cop car out in front of the office, and I was just like, oh my goodness, the kid called the cops and I am gonna be arrested. So I was cautious of even returning the key. I was just gonna take it back to the client and be like, hey, you return the key to the office. But then I figured if it was gone too long, they might be, I don't know. Anyways, a lot goes through my mind all the time. So that was my day. How was your day? You guys have a great day. Do what you can with what you have, wherever you are. And I love you. And some big news, there's going to be, not big news, it's fun news. I was interviewed for Farmsteadtalk, which is a really neat channel, kind of a newer channel. Go check it out. Farmsteadtalk, FarmsteadTalk, all one word, because we don't believe in separating words on YouTube. So Farmstead Talk, go check it out. And my interview is not up yet. She just interviewed me this morning, but she said it should be up within the next couple days, give and take with Thanksgiving. So I'll put out it's up when it's up, but go subscribe to her channel now. So the next video up should probably be my interview, I'm guessing. but so you can get notifications and see. It was a neat interview. It was fun, and I like what she's doing. She's interviewing a hobby farmer or a farmsteader or a homesteader from each state. So I represented Indiana. Woot woot. So yeah, that was fun. You guys have a great day. See you later. See you later. Bye bye.